Josh? Okay. Call this meeting to order. Mary, roll please.
Sorry, I kind of messed up here. Archer, Myers,
Here.
Howard,
Here.
Redland,
Here.
Showalter.
Here, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Do we have anybody listed for public comment? Okay. No public hearings, no public comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda, items A and B. Item A is the 12/15/2025 commission meeting minutes. Item B are appropriation ordinances 2026-01, 2026-01A, 2026-P01, and 2026-P01A. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the consent agenda?
Move to approve consent agenda items A and B.
Have a motion by Commissioner Howard,
Second?
second by Commissioner Myers. Mary, roll please.
Myers,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Redland,
Yes.
Archer, Showalter.
Yes. Move on to item number 5, Commission Leadership Transition and Oaths. Item A is the recognition of the outgoing city commissioner. Turn it over to our city manager.
I do want to thank you, Commissioner Myers, for serving 4 years and making it through 2 elections to be on the city commission. And just want to give you this walking stick and my hat. As you set off now on the trails,
Oh, thank you.
hopefully happy trails
I
as you
appreciate
head
that.
on now.
Thank you so much.
So there you go.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You would? I would love to, no.
Wow, that's
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, and we certainly appreciate everything you've done for the commission the last 4 years, and thank you for your service. So
Appreciate it.
appreciate you.
It's been wonderful.
And,
You can go sit down.
Oh, I can sit down.
Your time here is served.
pictures.
Sentence is over.
Right.
Okay.
you can welcome.
We'll go ahead and welcome our new city commissioner, Mrs. Cloyd, to come up. We have an oath to be administered as well.
Yep, for her and for
Okay. Okay.
Brooke.
We'll start with her then and have the rest of us come around. Okay.
You raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Angie Cloyd. I, Angie Cloyd. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I support the Constitution of the United States. That I support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Kansas. Constitution of the State of Kansas. And the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas. And the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas. I will faithfully. And to the best of my ability. Discharge the duties. As City Commissioner. So help me God. And then put the sign on the floor and return it to me.
There you go.
I, Jason Showalter,
I, Jason Showalter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
and the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
I will faithfully
I will faithfully,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability,
discharge the duty
discharge the duty
as City Commissioner,
as City Commissioner.
so help me God.
So help me God.
We'll do it this way. I, Brooke Redland,
I, Brooke Redland,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws of the City of Goodland,
and
Kansas.
the laws of the City of Goodland,
I
Kansas.
will faithfully
I will faithfully,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as City Commissioner,
as City City Commissioner.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'd like to give a round of applause to our new city commissioner, Mrs. Cloyd. Welcome to the commission. Happy to have you on board. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to election of mayor. We'll open up the, I guess we'll open up for, not bids, but nominations. Couldn't think of the word, open up for nominations.
I nominate Jason Showalter for mayor. Second.
Okay, you have to take a vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, commissioners, all those in favor, raise your right hand.
Yes.
All those opposed, raise your left hand. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Want to go ahead and do the other one before you come up, or do you want to?
I'd rather.
Okay. I'll open up then for nominations for the office of vice mayor. And I will nominate J.J. Howard for vice mayor.
I second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay.
Do you have it memorized?
I don't know.
No, I could mess it up. I, Jason Showalter,
I, Jason Showalter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
and the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
and to the best of my abilities,
and to the best of my abilities,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as mayor,
as mayor.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. I, J.J. Howard,
I, J.J. Howard,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws of the City of Goodland,
and the
Kansas.
laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
I will faithfully,
I will
and
faithfully,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of Vice Mayor,
as Vice Mayor.
so help me God.
So help me God.
No, that don't work.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to presentations and proclamations. We'll start with item A, the introduction of Corporal Condi. Chief Earhart.
Need some room up here. Sorry about that, Johnson. All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
So we're here today to recognize Adrian Condi. He has successfully met the requirements to be promoted to corporal. So I will read you this. I guess. It is my pleasure to formally notify you of your promotion to the rank of corporal with the Goodland Police Department effective 1/5/2026. This promotion is a reflection of your demonstrated professionalism, leadership ability, work ethic, commitment to the mission of the department. Throughout your service, you have consistently shown sound judgment, accountability, and the ability to lead by example, qualities essential to supervisory. As a corporal, you would be expected to serve as a leader and a mentor to fellow officers, uphold departmental policies and procedures, and assist in maintaining high standards of performance and integrity expected of this agency. Your actions will continue to set the tone for others, both on and off duty. I am confident you will embrace the responsibilities of this position and continue to represent the Goodland Police Department with honor, dedication, and professionalism. Congratulations on this well-deserved achievement, and thank you for your continued service to the community.
This is typically the wife's job, isn't it? Come help. Worried about you poking yourself, Jason. Poking ain't good.
So with that said, this is a officer promotion warrant in recognition of your skills, dedication, and duty, knowledge, and leadership qualities necessary to lead police officers by the authority vested in me as chief of police. I have now promoted Officer Adrian Condry to the rank of corporal.
Well, Corporal. All right, we'll move on to the Kyle Railroad presentation for the rail upgrade project.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor and Vice Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to present with my colleague Tom here tonight. I'm with Genesee & Wyoming, the parent company of the Kyle Railroad, and if you'll bear with us, I've got just a short 10-slide or so presentation, but please interrupt me at any time or ask questions or just tell us to walk out and leave. We can do that too. But I thought we could start. I'm sorry, I don't think I can control it. I hate to say it. Next slide. So Genesee & Wyoming, neither affiliated with the state, or I guess there's a beer, Genesee, I'm also become aware of, but rather it's the original short line railroad that our company started in upstate New York. There's two river valleys in New York, Genesee and Wyoming River Valleys. That railroad is still in operation today and serves a salt mine, which was our first railroad back in the 1800s. Next slide, please. Next slide. So G&W today, we are the largest short line railroad holding company. Raise your hand if you know what a short line railroad is. That's perfect. So,
Got behind your nose.
okay. So short line railroads can be short in length, but that's not a necessary requirement to get that name. So rather, it's in terms of overall revenue that they generate it every year. So the larger railroads you're used to, Union Pacific and BNSF Railway that operate in Kansas, their revenue, the Class 1 railroads that are $1 billion in revenue a year or higher, they are much higher than that. Then there are Class 2 short line railroads, and that's about $500 million in revenue a year and below. And then there are Class 3 or short line railroads that are about $43 million in revenue a year and below, and that's what the Kyle Railroad is a Class 3 short line railroad. That number goes up and down every year, but essentially we are the local Ace Hardware franchise compared to the Home Depots and Lowe's of the world, right? Or if you flew on United Express or Delta SkyWest Airlines, that's kind of what we are. We're that county and dirt road connection to the larger Class 1 system. So our footprint today, we're over 100 small railroads across North America. They don't really make up what we would think of as a network, so they don't connect to each other. They're each operate as an independent business, have their own general manager. Tom behind me is the general manager of the Kyle. And each railroad lives or dies on the revenue that railroad produces. So, for example, if the Kyle has a banner year and grain products are through the roof and prices are great, commodity prices are great, he's not going to send his revenue to short line railroad in Texas, for example, to prop that one up. So each railroad kind of lives or dies, again, based on its revenue it produces. Last thing I'll say about shoreline railroads is kind of their birthday is about 1980. So 1980, Jimmy Carter signed the Staggers Act, which deregulated the railroad industry, similar to when the airline industry was deregulated. Essentially, the larger railroads at the time said, thank goodness we don't have to operate these smaller, unprofitable lines that don't generate enough business that we'd be interested in. So unfortunately, at the time, that left a lot of railroads that just went defunct, out of business. Weeds started growing through them. Farmers took over their borders and their right-of-way, and shippers in those states and areas lost their ability to get their goods moved by rail. Companies like Genesee & Wyoming and other entrepreneurs, Watco's another large holding company in the state that you may be familiar with, bought up some of these smaller railroads. In some places, states bought them and said, I think we can make a go at this. Now, they produce much lower revenue, and I promise I'm getting to a point here. Because of that, not a lot of carload growth and generating new revenue, a lot of the infrastructure that we operate on the short lines is old. Now, we operate safely, but we do so largely at 10 miles per hour in a lot of places. On this railroad in particular, some of the rail that we operate on is over 100 years old. Now, to get up to a modern standard where we can operate at higher speeds and generate new revenue for our customers, new opportunities for our customers, we need to invest. Unfortunately, we don't produce the kind of revenue that we need to implement these, what we call transformational projects, where you say, upgrade 20, 30 miles of railroad at a time, because again, we don't generate enough revenue for that. Next slide. You can skip that. So a little bit, just our largest interchange partner is CSX in the East Coast, but you'll see our connections to BNSF and Union Pacific largely in Kansas and the western U.S. So the Kyle, Tom, if you want to take over some of this, but yeah, go ahead.
So just Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Just an overview of the Kyle. We're about a 500-mile railroad that operates between Lyman, Colorado, and then as far east as Cortland, Kansas, and Salina, where we have connections with Union Pacific and BNSF. We largely serve the grain-producing areas. Wheat is the main ag commodity that we handle, but we do fertilizer. We handle roofing shingles for Tamco over in Phillipsburg, and a number of different co-op elevators along the route. As we said just a minute ago, these routes, they're not high-margin routes from a profitability standpoint, but they are very critical to the communities along the route in the state of Kansas here. Ross mentioned that the beginning of the Kyle Railroad per se was in 1980 with the deregulation of the industry, but the railroad goes further beyond that with the old Rock Island Railroad. And when you think about the trains that they ran 100 years ago, they were much smaller. Each rail car was a lot lighter, maybe 40-footer, which was 60 tons. Right now, we're handling rail cars that are 60-foot long that are 140 tons. But they're still operating on the rail that was laid, back in 1919. So that's the kind of upgrades that we're trying to accomplish on the Kyle Railroad to help support our businesses and communities along the route. And we're putting as much money into the ground, into the rail and the ballast and the ties as we can to get these speeds up and to have a very safe railroad. But we can only do so much every year. So this is why we're here to see if we can work with some help on getting that in faster and upgrading it much faster. So the Kyle itself, we have about 63 employees, and here in Goodland, this is our western terminal. So we do have crews that come on duty here. They work east to Phillipsburg. They'll also work west to Lyman. And we are a big supporter of the new schooler facility out in Crusoe, just down the road, the crush facility there. So we get soybeans and canola from all parts of the Midwest in these 140-ton cars that come on in, and then we'll spot them. They'll crush. We'll get the seed oils out. We'll get the feed out. So there's a lot of economic activity that the Kyle supports in this area. So we're looking, for the support and the growth in the future to help with the area.
So a little bit, states, counties, cities, the federal government is very interested in keeping the shoreline system going because there's a lot of benefits to that. Not because they think I'm particularly charismatic or that the Kyle Railroad is the best thing that's ever happened, but because of what Tom mentioned, our ability to serve customers. If we close, you're either left with one or two options. One, a customer can simply relocate their facility and go somewhere else, or they can truck it. When you don't have competition between modes, trucking and railroads, you typically see in those markets truck rates will go higher. Becomes somewhat unaffordable for a co-op or an elevator or whoever to move something, and you have this cycle where, again, customers may have to relocate their facility. So in the state of Kansas, there's also a grant program called the Rail Service Improvement Fund. It's about $10 million every year that customers are eligible for, as well as shoreline railroads. KDOT, Kansas Department of Transportation, calls that the best highway preservation tool that they have, because each rail car, think 3 to 5 semi-truckloads. And when you're moving tens of thousands of carloads a year, that's hundreds of thousands of truckload equivalents you're taking off of the public highway system. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So let's just get to the point. So our project is essentially a giant upgrade project that would see new rail, new ties, what we call surfacing, so going over the surface of the rail to make it safer for trains to operate on, with the goal of increasing speed, increasing safety, not only for the public around of which our trains are operating, but also for the crews that operate those trains. More efficiencies in terms of how we utilize train crews. Train crews are limited to 12 hours of service for each time that they start on a train. If they have to go at 10 miles per hour, you can imagine they don't make it very far. And so they can, what we call die on hours, they'll die out on the railroad, and we have to go pick them up by a van. That's a frustrating experience for them. It's also for it's not great for our operations, as you can imagine. Not great for our customers, who depend on timely service because they may need to get their rail car to the P&W, to Oregon or Washington or to Texas, and it needs to get to the ship on time. So any delay anywhere on the system can lead to further delays down the road. Some of what we'll be doing too is upgrading the crossing surfaces. I believe Goodland is part of that. It just makes for a better traveling experience for the traveling public as they go over. Think rough crossings. Well, now we're putting in concrete plank crossings, so cars and trucks, et cetera, can get over those more smoothly. Really, the end result is a more competitive, faster railroad. We've got more hazardous material shipments coming online that will be shipping west, some ethanol products that will be going to Lyman, where we interchange it with Union Pacific. Part of the project will also include then installing essentially what we call wayside detectors, so a system of sensors along the tracks that can pick up any irregularities in a rail car and tell the crew that they may need to stop their train, for example, to take a car out of service or put it into a siding until that car can be repaired. The goal of which, of course, is to prevent what we would call a mechanically caused derailment. Now, we operate very safely today, but as we move more hazardous materials loads and we move just a greater frequency and number of cars, we want to make sure that we continue that exemplary safety record that we have at the railroad. Next slide, please. So because of the size of the project, almost $100 million to do this project, as you can imagine, that's a very significant investment. We actually need to split it into 2 phases. One, to be able to match the project ourselves, which we're going to match at a 50% level, but also to qualify for 2 different grant programs that I'll provide a very brief overview for. So phase 1 you'll see is kind of split into 2 different places. Now you may be wondering, why isn't Goodland itself highlighted in blue on this slide? Well, I'll show you in phase 2. But essentially in phase 1, it's a lot of the rail and surfacing that's going to occur as part of the project. And then in phase 2, you replace a lot of the ties. But you don't want to do the ties first and then the rail. It's just kind of how you will damage a lot of ties if you put them in when you go in to replace the rail. So think of bolted rail that's literally bolted together, that goes clickety-clack, the old train sound. We're going to remove those bolts, put a new rail with continuously welded rail, CWR, essentially very long strings of rail that's been welded together. And actually the rail comes from Colorado. And that will be a smoother experience, but also has less fatigue as the train goes over it. It's better for the locomotive wheels themselves, better for the cars, and that you can actually move at higher speeds. So be new rail and new ties. Each one in each phase is roughly, the sheets in front of you, I can't remember off the top of my head, but roughly I think 28 million, something like that. Or that would be half of that. So 43 million for each phase, and then the grant project itself would be half of that. And then phase 2 you'll see is some of the ties and surfacing as I talked about, and some of the crossing work that we'll be doing, as well as the detector installs. Next slide, please. So we spoke about some of the public benefits. We can skip that, but essentially it's an economic development tool for us to stay in business, right? To be able to provide better customer service and allow our customers to be more competitive in their markets. Really, we're not anything if we don't have any customers, and our customers depend on service to be able to grow themselves. So this is really about supporting our customers and what they're telling us they need from us. So our ask, there's really just one great grant program at the federal level for short line railroads, and that's CRISI. That's the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvement Program. That's roughly about a $300 million competitive grant program. Every year it goes out to roughly 30 to 40 projects. In the last transportation bill, IIJA, if you've heard of that, there was $1 billion a year in that, and there are 2 more years of that in which we hope to be competitive. That's a program where the railroad itself, in addition to a public entity like yourselves, can apply directly. And we intend on taking this exact project and applying for that grant program, which is likely to open sometime in the spring, according to the Federal Railroad Administration. There's also another program, which we're here to talk to you today about, called BUILD, previously called RAISE, previously called TIGER. If you're familiar with those terms, each administration changes the name to whatever acronym they choose, and I won't pretend to remember what BUILD is off the top of my head. That program is extremely competitive. Most of the time, those projects go to what we would call multimodal projects. So a dock that's building truck and warehousing, and there's a rail nexus to that. But it also does fund freight rail projects. So at another G&W railroad in South Dakota, we won a $20 million grant to upgrade a lot of that rail for the same purposes as we're talking today. So it does happen. It's a highly competitive program. But the real sad part about that is railroads themselves are not directly eligible to apply for that program. It requires a public entity partner. The only reason that we wanted to come speak with you, other than congratulating you on becoming commissioner and mayor and vice mayor, and celebrating the promotion of the corporal, is to ask if you all would consider serving as that public entity and applying for the BUILD grant on behalf of the Kyle Railroad. So what would that look like for you? We have already hired AECOM. It's a world-renowned engineering firm to help us complete the application process. It's a pretty robust one, if you can imagine, at the federal level, as well as some engineering studies that we need to submit along with our application. And essentially, your role is we give you all the materials. I can help you log into the system, or consultants can. You press apply, and if we are awarded, you would be awarded. We would work on an agreement, a legal agreement, which we call a flow-down agreement, that would be between Genesee and Wyoming, the Kiowa Railroad, and the city of Goodland, essentially absolving you of any financial responsibilities at all between the grant project and the city. If you were to absorb costs, including pressing apply, we would reimburse you for those expenses. And I did put a draft agreement in front of you as well, just so you could see that. That's just a draft. It can say whatever you would want it to say. Essentially how it works is BUILD is a reimbursable grant program. So as we complete work, we would submit invoices to you. You would submit invoices to the U.S. Department of Transportation. They would pay you. Then you would pay us, essentially. So you're essentially a pass-through entity. I hope that doesn't make you feel used or dirty in any way, but that's just kind of the relationship that it is. We have successfully done this many, many times across the country. Just in this last round at Chrissy, we were awarded over $210 million. We have a robust staff and team of consultants, as well as people like myself and Tom, that work at the railroad to make that as seamless as possible. We successfully worked with Kansas Department of Transportation in 2021 on a Chrissy grant, in which they were the recipient and then passed through to the railroad. Oklahoma Department of Transportation, also something similar. Indiana, Ohio, and too many states to count, to be frank, have all kind of signed up for these agreements. One, because they see the value of the project, but also it helps us be more competitive to make sure we're attracting dollars to the state of Kansas. So that's our ask of you, but I stand by for any questions, or if you don't have any at the top of your mind, I'm happy to answer them at a later date. Applications are due February 24th, which I know is coming up quick, unfortunately, but hence why I was in touch with Mr. Brown and came here the first opportunity that we could. So I will stop talking. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I appreciate the opportunity to present to you. And regardless of your decision, we will be applying for the other grant program as well, in which I'm happy to come back and ask for a letter of support for that project. But we think that by applying to both BUILD, hopefully with you as a partner, and Chrissy, it essentially gives us two opportunities to get the project funded. So appreciate it.
So on the map, it indicated that the projects, phase 1 would be over by Siebert and by Phillipsburg. Does that mean that the orange is phase 2, or where does phase 2 take place?
Yeah, phase 2 is right there in the dotted line. The orange is
okay.
meant to just be our kind of overall system
Overall
map.
line, okay.
Yeah.
How
Oh.
long will the overall project take? Do you estimate?
Typically, from the time of application to award can be up to 9 months. And then it's typically another year to get to an agreement with the U.S. Department of Transportation. And then it's probably a year of construction. So from today until the end of phase 1, it's at least 3 years. And phase 2, double that.
And what was that increased speed the trains will be able to travel, or that you're hoping to achieve?
It speeds up to 25 miles per hour.
Yeah, right now for a large part of the railroad, it's a 10-mile-an-hour railroad. We have spots that we're increasing to 25, but you know, the more money that we can put into the railroad, 25 is a really good speed. We're not like the class 1s. They handle UPS and FedEx containers and things like that. We don't need to be going 70 miles an hour like they do. 25 to 40 is a really good efficient speed when you're talking about fuel consumption and the commodities that we handle.
Essentially, when we say it's up to 25, it's the Federal Railroad Administration has track classifications. So track, the first classification is like up to 10 miles per hour. The next is up to 25, and then the next increased class 3 track would be up to 40 miles per hour. So you kind of operate in this, where if you're not at the proper classification, you wouldn't be able to go faster than 25 if you didn't have the infrastructure to go forward.
If you're at the lowest classification at 10 mile an hour, the track is not that great. And we do a lot of having to take it out of service, quickly get our section gang out there to replace some ties to get the cross leveled so that the rail heads are even again. Or we have a broken rail that was 100 years old and we have to get another section to replace it. This goes to systematically kind of cleaning up the bad ties, the old rail, so that we have that foundation for moving forward.
So selected for the grant, talked about, that would be basically would be a pass-through that you guys turn in receipts to us, we turn those into somebody, and then we get reimbursed and pay you. What kind of time commitment would our employees have to work through the paperwork process of that grant?
We would anticipate, and my promise is that we essentially would hire an engineering firm that has that experience to ensure that all of the documentation is prepared to do exactly what you just mentioned. I can't imagine it's more than an hour a month at the most. If that, our goal is to make sure that everything is prepared in which you really just have to pass it on.
So you're not talking about taking one of our employees out of the cycle?
No.
2 or 3 weeks while they work through receipts to
No.
pass through?
No, and what we'd expect is that project's, again, at our expense, that's probably a $750,000 contract with an engineering firm to help us do that. So they do, there has to be, as you can imagine, when you're taking federal dollars and state dollars and city dollars, there's, robust accountability requirements with that. So that firm would help us. They have to go out and do pre and post inspections of the project, make sure we're living up. So when we say speeds up to 25, we do reports back, to the FRA, the U.S. Department of Transportation, to ensure that we did, in fact, go up to speeds up to 25 miles per hour. So they would do all those types of inspections and accountability and document preparation. So.
Do you have any other questions for me? Okay. Well, I would certainly be in support of this, but I think it's something that we probably need to have continue to work with you guys to kind of hash out the details, and I assume bring something back to us for a vote at some point. Kent, what do you say?
We can, just wanted to have it presented tonight, and then we can bring back the actual formal agreement at the next meeting, get that approved and get it done and off the way.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm not an attorney. My wife is one. So it's nice to have one in the family. But, in terms of the agreement, I'll certainly rely on our legal counsel, but, that was, again, meant to just be a draft. If there's something in there that doesn't sit right or you would like to see additional requirements in there, just let us know. We're certainly amenable to all that. So.
Certainly nothing jumps out at me anyway on paper that screams at us that we shouldn't continue this down this road, and appreciate the partnership with you guys to work together. So.
Well, appreciate the opportunity, and congratulations once again.
Thank you. That fruit basket.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Item A, ordinance 1813, amend chapter 4, section 202 to include penalty for commencing work without a permit. This sounds like a Zach issue.
Good evening.
As presented in front of you, ordinance 1813 would add language into the current code. It would not change anything that's there already. This was discussed last year with the construction board a few times. They decided it was appropriate to put in there. It just kind of fell to the back burner with everything else that was going on. This would just allow for double the cost of the permit to be charged as penalty for doing work without a permit beforehand. An example of that would be somebody adding on to their house over the weekend, and then we'd come up and, hey, there's a whole new house here. So basically, they could still apply for the permit, get all the inspections done. It's just a lot easier to do beforehand, so the double the charge is kind of a punishment, no-no. Steer people in the correct direction of doing the permit beforehand.
Okay.
I don't like telling people to take down their walls so I can do an inspection.
questions, comments, or concerns for Zach on this requested ordinance? If not, I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 1813 to amend chapter 4 to include the penalty for commencing work without a permit.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Howard. Motion by me. Mary, roll please.
Cloyd,
Yes.
Archer, Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you, Zach. Move on to formal actions, the Welcome Center lease extension.
This is just an annual agreement that we lease it to the Sherman County Community Development to host their Welcome Center at that building on Highway 24. We rent it for a nominal fee of $1 per year, and it's just an annual renewal by the City Commission.
Any questions, comments, or concerns about the Welcome Center lease extension?
I'll make a motion to approve the Welcome Center lease extension.
Have a motion by Commissioner Redlin,
Second it.
second by Commissioner Cloyd. Mary, roll please.
Redlin,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Cloyd,
Yes.
Archer, Showalter.
Yes. Discussion items. Item A, USD 352 for transfer of property. I know we were gonna have the superintendent here. Do we want
Yes.
to move forward with that, or do we want to reschedule?
Let's go ahead and reschedule. He's better able to be here.
Put that off. Move on to commissioner reports. We'll start with the city manager.
Included in your packet is the manager memo as well as the fourth quarter report on building permits. We also, I'll ask building official Zach to return and provide a couple updates on some buildings we've been working on.
Hello.
1319 Cherry is almost finished now. They did really fast work on that one. Much appreciated. 621 West 17th Street, the homeowner has been working with me. They have completed the first step of the 60 days. I do think it's appropriate to move forward in working with them for another 60 days to allow them the chance to keep rehabilitating that property. The other property that will be coming up and came up to you, there's been Lot D5, 216 East Highway, Lot D5. Had kind of an issue getting the tenant to cooperate and allowing the cleanup of that property and repair of it, so the property manager is going the legal avenues to try and get access into that property. So we're kind of running into that situation right now, just to give you a heads up when we do hit that 30-day mark. And that's all I have.
Questions for Zach?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Zach.
Also wanted to let the commission know that Police Chief Earhart would provide some information. He's going to be submitting a grant for additional equipment.
Hi again.
Hello.
We're going to submit a grant through Dane G. Hansen for a drone. This drone could have been utilized several times, but more than that. Mainly the missing elderly that I'm sure everyone's heard about. Also on this last incident on Caldwell, and then also the incident that occurred Saturday. So there's a lot of usage for the drone. It's FLIR capability, and it also has a spotlight on it, things like that. It also is able to withstand wind speeds of up to 45 miles an hour. So it would go, it's about $60,000, and it would go in line with our Axon equipment. So the downloads, GPS, all the stuff would go directly into our Axon evidence with our body cameras that we just purchased. And we'd be able to live view that from a command post and things like that. So we are going to attempt to get some funding for that. I think it's really important, actually.
Is that 100% coverage of the cost?
I'm probably gonna have to go to several places. So, I'm guessing. I've just now started the process. We tried to go locally and that was too much money.
So you don't have a grant in mind, you're just going to get a grant to try to get that?
I'm going to apply for Dayton G. Hansen. Yes, and I don't know if they'll give me the full grant, but I did try locally and it was too much for them to go.
Okay.
I didn't think it was gonna be that expensive, but if you want one that withstands the wind speeds, which is 45s about every day here, so, then you have to, I mean, it's pretty expensive.
Okay.
So, but it'll be used in a multitude of ways.
And that's about it for that for right now. If we have something a part of the grant application process that I need commission approval, we'll present that at a subsequent meeting. So that's all we have at this point. The other things we have are all the inspections were completed on the Cero Malt Beverage license. We had one business that didn't complete all the inspections. That was completed within a week after that commission meeting. And then also included in your packet is a flyer for a Veterans Connection Tour for Office of Veteran Services over in Oakley. So just wanted to get that out to the public. Since we have new commissioner on board, we thought it would be a good time to have the city attorney speak about open meetings. Our other fairly new commissioner that came on at the beginning of last year is not here tonight, but we'll let City Attorney Kling take it from here.
With that being in mind, do we want to try to do this in a meeting where she can be present as well?
And that might be a good idea, if you want to table it until next meeting.
I don't want to push you off, but I honestly find, it's good information that I think she would need as well, that she hasn't heard it, it might be better if she can hear it too, so. Okay.
Thank you.
Come to the next meeting if you would. Thank you, Counselor. All right.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our city commissioner reports. I'll start with my left with Commissioner Bedlin.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Howard?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Ann for her service and all that you were involved in. So everybody appreciates that, and I welcome Angie Cloyd to the commission, and we'll get a lot of things done.
All right, Commissioner Cloyd, you have any report?
Nothing for tonight.
Okay. And for the mayor's report, I don't have anything. I would entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redlin,
Second.
second by Commissioner Howard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion, or, meeting adjourned.